So we're back here, and we are going to get back into the conversation about real estate. We're going to talk to Richard Vazqueuz from Artisan Insurance Group about flood insurance, because there's some important changes coming. We've talked about them in the past, but there's more stuff happening, and I think our listeners that are in areas or considering property or have some sort of impact from that they need to know about.
Yeah, and I met with your team this week and gave them this information, and it's actually, we are starting very slowly to maybe see some light at the end of the tunnel with regards to flood insurance. It's not, a 180-degree turnaround, but we're starting to see some hope there. Just a quick review. In the past, you had to get your flood insurance through FEMA. That was the only place that you could get it from, and it was, here's the price, take it or leave it, and by the way, the price is going up, so get ready for that. But now we're starting to see some other companies out there that are sticking their toe in the water, trying it out, and offering a little bit of relief. We started being able to write policies through private market companies such as Lloyd's of London and a couple of others. While they weren't cheap, they in some cases were cheaper than FEMA. So that was great, and they've offered a little bit of relief there. But recently we just signed a new agreement with another company that is using new technology to really help out. And basically what they're doing is that when we go onto their website and we run a quote with a company, we've always preached throughout the years we need an elevation certificate. An elevation certificate basically tells us how high above sea level your house sits. And if it sits high enough above sea level, then you get really inexpensive flood insurance rates. Well, this company has the ability to do that electronically. If you haven't invested the money and you haven't gone out and hired a survey company to do this, then we can do it electronically. We can go into this company, we can run a quote on your house, and we've already seen some pretty dramatic improvements with some of the rates. Not all the time, but in certain circumstances, it has been able to help out with certain houses and get much better rates. We've been able to save some really important
So you're able to put the FEMA rate against this other company,
right?
And this other company, the mortgage lenders and all that are accepting of those in terms of flood insurance.
Yep, absolutely. Not only that, but in the past with FEMA, the most flood insurance you could ever get was $250,000. It didn't matter if your house would cost $1 million to rebuild it, you could only get $250,000 worth of coverage through FEMA. This company will go up substantially higher than that. I believe they'll go up to $500,000 on flood insurance. So if you have a nicer upscale house, you can actually get enough coverage to take care of.
Well, because if the house is flooded, there's going to be your property insurance is going to cover certain things, and your flood's going to cover if your house is completely destroyed.
Right. Because
there's going to be some wind. There's going to be some of it that's wind, some of it's So you get the insurance companies battling over who's paying what, but ultimately the $500,000 flood coverage should cover the majority of issues that could arise.
You would think, unless you had a pretty substantial house.
Yeah, if you had true, But so nonetheless, the interesting thing about this topic is we've started to see more and more of that. I've always wondered, and I always thought it was really silly that flood insurance was always just based on this arbitrary elevation number. Mm-hmm. Like I always think it would it's similar. Like if you look at the auto insurance industry, insurance is based on a whole lot of variables.
A whole bunch of things.
And I would have, I would think that there could be some reform and some technology that would analyze the likelihood of a particular area flooding, even if its elevation is low or high because of its proximity to water, or you could have an area that has high elevation but floods all the time, and then an area with super low elevation that never floods, and the super low elevation is going to pay way more in flood insurance, even though it's not as much of a risk.
You're right.
Because they don't factor in historic flooding, they don't factor in, and it makes no sense. It really is silly. It doesn't make sense to me compared to other insurances where they can have predictable models to say, you're more likely to have this happen to you because of this or that, and they can't tell me, there's no way scientifically they can explain, that it's an exact trigger, that your elevation is an exact trigger for the likelihood of a flood, because it's not. I mean, we drive around Tampa and see areas that don't require flood insurance, but flood all the freaking time, and then areas that do, and there's not, so it doesn't make any sense. So someday I hope they change that. I doubt they ever will.
Well, I think that's one of the things that this new company is starting to trend towards. because one of the conditions in order to get insurance with this new company is that there has not been a prior flood insurance claim on your house.
Okay.
So they're going to do a little bit of
I like
research and just
I like
make
that
sure.
idea, and I think there's no reason why that data can't be tracked and figured out. It's the same reason why auto insurance companies can charge more for insurance in Miami than they will in Plant City, because you're more likely to have your car stolen in Miami, and they know that over years and years of time. I mean,
Or
that's just a
history.
fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not discriminating. That's a pure fact. You can look at data and know that.
Zip code.
Yeah, based on the zip code, they know
the
that.
auto insurance companies look at claims history.
Yeah.
If you've had 3 accidents, then you're going to pay a lot more.
Correct. You had 3 claims on flood, and maybe you pay more. So, but they base it purely on elevation, which is silly.
Right.
Well, anyway, we're going to be back. We're going to continue our conversation. We're going to talk more about the Tampa real estate market after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show.